Three, two, one, go. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back. My name is Caster Sata, and today I'm joined by Souldra once again, and we are going to be translating, well, I guess not really translating, we're going to be casting some LPL matches for you, and if this goes well, hopefully we're going to be doing these games a lot more often, because we are interested in bringing the Chinese scene to North American audiences.
That's exactly right. And, obviously there are a lot of people who have been really interested in what goes on in the jungles of the LPL, but haven't been able to, really expose themselves to this really wonderful scene. And it's just full of team fights, full of really interesting positioning. So, right now we're into champ select between Edward Gaming and LGD.
And this is very exciting because I think this is the first time we've seen Edward play against LGD, and I'm just going to refer to them as EDG from now on. So this is going to define the pace of the rest of the season, as this is only week number 2 of the LPL. I believe week 1 just finished up last week, so we're finally starting to see a little bit of variety in our matches. But alas, we are in the picks and ban phases, so why don't we take a look at that?
Right, and it is also important to note that this is patch 3.15. You might notice the old flash icon to your top left, and also to your bottom left, you look at the ban list. Most viewers on Twitch chat don't actually know who that champion is. That is actually Shyvana. So here we see a Renekton first pick, and then on the side for LGD, we see a Thresh and Ziggs taken first. These are actually really common picks. The Renekton the first pick Renekton is actually slightly interesting to me, and it makes me. I kind of want to see what LGD decides to pick into that top lane, or whether they'll just decide to do a 2v1 switch.
And I do believe that LGD should be rather comfortable with a 2v1, especially if they do want to try to shut down Name early on or prevent his scaling. I believe before the game you were telling me a little bit about how strong Name is as an AD carry, and taking a look at the bans, we can see Lucian actually being banned away from Name.
Right. So another interesting thing to see is that we have the Kha'Zix pick from Clearlove, formerly Troll from Team World Elite, Team WE. Last week when EDG played against OMG, I believe that Clearlove picked Kha'Zix twice, and I think they might have first picked it once in their pick and ban phase. Clearlove really likes to get. He doesn't like to share kills on his Kha'Zix. He really likes to get far ahead and try to take over games by trying to, just because Kha'Zix has such good teamfight capability as well as good objective control with his Q execute, he really can, just completely take control of games and steamroll EDG ahead and allow himself to be another threat while Name takes care of business from the back.
And it's a bit interesting to see Clearlove lock in that Kha'Zix so early, as LGD does have a lot of room for counterplay. Already we can see a mid lock-in, that's Reyna locking in Mundo. Very tanky, very hard to assassinate. Lee Sin, also very difficult to assassinate just because he has so much mobility, and if he does decide to go for that utility tanky Lee Sin, it is very tough to bring him down. And even seeing Styes lock in what looks like it's going to be an Ezreal, that's going to be shutting down Clearlove's assassination potential. But with you on LeBlanc and Clearlove on Kha'Zix, I'm not surprised at all to see so much survivability out of LGD.
Right. And especially Name is currently locked in Twitch. That is a Twitch, and especially since the goal for LGD must be to not let Name get ahead, or Clearlove, especially since Clearlove has a tendency to camp that bottom lane or whatever lane that Name is in. Really, it's just the name of the game for LGD is to make sure that Styes and PYL can survive as much as they can in lane.
And I don't think they should have too much trouble, seeing as they are on an Ezreal Thresh combination against a Lulu Twitch, unless that is going to be you taking Lulu in the mid and FZZF taking LeBlanc in the bottom lane. I haven't seen a lane swap, the champion swap quite yet, so we'll have to see once we get into game. Now, I know Lulu is very popular in the NA and EU LCS in the mid lane, and Monte Cristo even did a little bit of analysis onto why that's the case, but do you think you could shed some insight?
Well, see, okay, so what happened, the reason why Lulu wasn't very popular was because the ability scalings on her Q weren't really that great. But now what started to happen in the Korean server, and of course, not to take any away from credit, I consider the original Lulu Master Zamfira from the American solo queue ladder. So props to him. But in the Korean, in the high elo Korean ladder, they start a lot of pros start to build Lulu with Lichbane in the late game, which isn't. And so her damage is still not on par with, some of the top ability power carries that are out there, such as Gragas and, LeBlanc, obviously. But, a Lichbane does give her a little bit of damage, especially since she has picks to add additional auto attacks in. And also, the scalings on her utility, such as her help picks shield, as well as her Wild Growth ultimate, really scale well into the late game. But use Lulu pick is probably a it's just more of a utility pick and stronger in the early game. We do see this LeBlanc coming out from FCZF. The only person I've seen play support LeBlanc ever was when Daydreamin' from Team Coast first came to the LCS all the way back in the 2013 spring split. So this is a really interesting pick, and I'm really happy to see this kind of new niche pick come out inside the LPL.
It is very curious to see that LeBlanc on support. It can pair very well with Twitch, as Twitch, he'll back off from the minions, go into stealth, and then try to get a good snipe with that bonus attack speed. Of course, LeBlanc will jump in with Distortion and Ethereal Chains. But LGD look like they don't want to let any sort of standard play happen, as they're going for a very fast invade, waiting at that old school banana bush. But the defensive line from EDG spots them out of position. They know they're in there. I'm just waiting for someone to sneak up and drop a ward, but I don't think that's going to happen, especially with PYL on Thresh.
Oh, nice ward. Right, and that is important to note that is the old school banana brush, but really smart of EDG just to drop a trinket ward right there and make sure that they know where the entirety of LGD is. I believe, yeah, you can already see Name and FCZF rotating up to their opponent's blue buff with Clearlove heading there as well. So this is going to be a standard buff for buff trade. This also suggests that the bottom lane of Ezreal and Thresh is going to go to the top lane, while Mundo is just going to wait for that lane to push up to his tower and collect farm. That's very standard for patch 3.15 all the way up until now.
And it's a bit curious, though, as we were just talking about how Name is such a very strong AD carry, especially on someone like Twitch. If he can zone out Star on Mundo, he's going to have a very favorable lane. Of course, Mundo can throw out cleavers and farm it up, but for the mid game, he's going to scale exceptionally well.
Honestly, you can see the jungle path from Clearlove right here. He's going to take the Wraiths first and then head to his red buff. I presume that he wants to hit level 3 slightly early and then just immediately dive that really, weak early game Mundo. And Mundo, honestly, with the way, especially since FCZF picked up LeBlanc, Mundo might not even hit level 2 by the time a level 3 Kha'Zix comes in to dive him at the tower.
And that could be something very scary indeed, as Mundo is very weak in his earlier game. The longer the game goes on, though, we do know that the stronger he gets, as this is now going to be Lao Bao just waiting under his jungle. And now this is very curious. Quan going for a super fast white steal. That's a very early invade to try to shut down Clearlove. Of course, Kha'Zix benefits from that white camp being isolated, but looks like the invade goes down in the top lane. Flash dodge out of Koro keeps him alive. He's got no problem dodging that. Clearlove, though, it seems like he is going to be the new target. He escapes.
Right, so first of all, that was a really nice flash from Koro. I don't know if they can dive him really effectively, but they're about to try.
Looks like they're doing a lot of damage. The Ignite being thrown down. Koro trying to survive. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to. First blood goes to LGD.
Right, I would have liked to see Clearlove show a little bit more decisiveness. I believe that if he had dived that fight and tried to, run as much interference with he can, even if just to body block at all, they might have been able to pick up a kill, but unfortunately Clearlove got there late, and LGD was able to pick up the first kill of this game. First blood goes to LGD, and they're about to take this top lane tower.
And with Rina shoving up you in the mid lane, this actually looks pretty dire for Edward Gaming. With an early 700 gold lead, despite Name getting comfortably fed, that is still Styes doing pretty well on Ezreal in the top lane, currently at 24 to the 29 of Name. And with this very, very fast push from Quan, it looks like they might take the first turret of the game.
But you can see that Koro is already going back up to the top lane, and Clearlive is about to join him. If they can't take this turret, especially since they devoted so many resources while Name just farmed in the bottom lane, that's not going to be ideal at all for LGD. And Name got that kill on Mundo.
That's very, very good for Name, as he is the AD carry. He is going to have to carry Edward Gaming to victory, especially with that early first blood going over to Quan on Lee Sin in that top lane.
This is really bad, if only because LGD is currently sharing experience right now among 3 people, while Name and FCZF are, just farming it up in the bottom lane. It's really, I mean, EDG is coming out on top here, even though LGD got first blood. The top laner for LGD already had to burn his teleport just to get back into lane, and it looks like he's already getting lower and lower again. But LGD is going to respond with his turret. Good move, and it's a wise move by EDG just not to overstay their welcome and let them take the turret, especially since they're so close to taking the bottom turret for themselves as well.
Yeah, I am going to have to say that the advantage for the time being is currently with LGD. During that entire time, here's the replay of the action where Lai did go down. He was Ignite dived by a distortion, and the Ethereal Chains locked him down long enough for Name to pick up the kill. With LGD about 200 gold ahead, and Name, though, is going to be the main target for LGD. They're going to be doing everything to shut him down, especially now that that bottom turret is gone. That means that they can rotate Styes and PYL to focus on that lane. And this also means that we could see Quan return to his jungle, get a few buffs. It is about 7 minutes, so those buffs are going to respawn, and then camp bottom to continue to shut down Name, as he's going to be the main threat for Edward Gaming.
Right. The only thing about killing Name for this LGD team composition is that there aren't that many reliable sources of crowd control coming out from their team composition, and most of their sources of crowd control are skill shot reliant. So, just off the top of my head, right now we have the explosive, the minefield from Ziggs, which isn't very good. Isn't very good. We have the Sonic Wave Resonating Strike into Dragon's Rage combo from Lee Sin, which is not, we can't rely on to hit at all. And we also have a Death Sentence from Thresh. So really, it's going to be, especially if Name stealths and then uses the extra range from his ultimate just to completely dumbstar on his opponents from the back line, it's going to be really hard for LGD to dive Name and FCZF unless LGD is able to put down a preemptory ward and have Star, their top laner on Mundo, teleport into that ward.
That would definitely be a lot of overextending to deal with Name on Twitch, though Name looks like he does have, well, is about close to #1 farm, currently at 60 to the 62 of you on Lulu, who's actually in #1. But interestingly enough, let's take a look at the item pickups out of these 80 carries. Name opting for the Bilgewater Cutlass. That's indicative of a Blade of the Ruined King, which means he's not going to do a lot of really heavy damage early on in team fights.
Right. I mean, still, this just adds, I mean, for any AD carry this early, even though Ezreal will be a little bit stronger, will naturally, assuming all things are equal, will be stronger than Name in the early to mid game. Like I said before, if Name can just sit in the back line and completely destroy the tank lines of LGD, then I mean EDG just comes out with a win for that team fight. The Blade of the Rune King gives him even more survivability with that attack speed and an opponent's slow. Whenever he chooses to engage in fights. So I mean, smart pickup by Name. It's not really, I don't think it's a hugely necessary one, but still, just gives them extra survivability and puts even more pressure on LGD to try to steamroll themselves ahead in this lane.
And this looks like Quan going for a gank onto Koro 1. Koro 1 is level 6, does have a Giant's Belt, so he immediately drops the Dominus and just tries to escape out of that. No problem. doesn't burn any summoners, so that's a nice save. Whoa, Rina taking a bit of trade from you, who decided to opt for a quick Fiendish Codex and Chalice of Harmony, but Rina trading with a lot of auto attacks, does still have his Mega Inferno Bomb, could turn around onto you, especially with Quan coming around for the gank, but it doesn't look like Quan is going to make it. Oh, nice, a very close Sonic Strike says no to Quan's gank.
Right, and you use the active from his W to actually speed himself up and dodge the Sonic Wave Resonating Strength combo right there. That was actually...
Oh, Mega Inferno Bomb getting dropped onto you. A quick Wild Growth just absorbs some of that damage. But now that that ultimate has been used, it's a lot of global presence now missing from LGD. The only other ultimate is going to be Styes on that True Shot Barrage. And with Star rotating down on Mundo, this could be LGD making the first play of the game to try to take Dragon.
Right, and this is really smart. I mean, if they are able to get Dragon successfully right here, then burning that ultimate, Reyna burning that ultimate, his Super Mega Death, not Super Mega Death Rocket, help me out here.
Mega Inferno Bomb?
Mega Inferno Bomb. If burning his Mega Inferno Bomb is completely worth it, they are able to get the first Dragon of the game, which around the 10-minute mark, this is patch 3.15, so around the 10-minute mark, it is still worth a lot of gold.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to put LGD about 1,000 gold ahead as it stands. It is very comfortable. Not that much gold per champion. I think that comes out to about 200 per champ, which isn't really that much of an item, not even a tier 1 item. But just taking a look, we can see the Blade of the Ruined King getting closer and closer to completion for Name. Right. In the mid lane, no major pickup quite yet. But funnily enough, Clearlove going for his Spirit of the Elder Lizard. He is going for that Assassin Kha'Zix we talked about, and looks like there is going to be a dive in the top lane. Dominus goes down. Lai forced to back away. Star is using the sadism to try to survive, but Ignite denies the regeneration. Korra lives long enough. Name going for some action onto Sty. Sty unfortunately falls, and now this is going to be FZZ retreating from PYL. PYL looks like he might be able to pick up the kill. Flashes over the Ethereal Chain and secures himself another kill.
Right. The nice thing about the EDG's 3-man dive on the top lane was that you actually didn't have to expend any resources besides time. Even though he is losing a little bit of creeps at this wave, he actually didn't even have to use his ultimate for that dive. So really well played by EDG, and I think that was just a straight outplay from LGD in that bot lane. Mm-hmm. The key thing here is that if FCZF can't land every single one of his ethereal chains, and I'm talking about his first ethereal chain as well as the mimicked ethereal chain that comes from his ultimate, then they're not going to win team fights, especially since in the early game, Thresh just provides so much damage and utility, especially with the scaling on his Flay as he collects those souls. So, I mean, good fight by LGD. Name did not get the kill, unfortunately. FCZF did get the kill, so he's not able to finish anything. So Name isn't able to finish anything but those Berserker's Greaves. That's why he got the 3. That's why he got the 3 daggers before. But at 101 CS at around 12 minutes, I believe that he will be able to finish those Greaves in the next buy, especially if he does kill Styes right here.
Name engaging onto Styes. Here comes Quan from behind.
Nice dodge.
FZZ coming in to try to see if he can get some action. PYL doesn't land the Flay. True Shot Barrage hits Name, and a good Dragon Rage locks down Name long enough to allow Quan to secure the kill, putting LGD at a 4-3 lead. And the takeaway here is that Name being very aggressive, very greedy, knowing he won early on, trying to take kills, and being unsuccessful. He's sort of throwing away that early advantage that he had.
Right. This is one of the problems that we saw last week from EDG. The central problem with, even though EDG won the set versus OMG, spoilers for anyone who didn't watch, I'm sorry, but even though EDG did win that set, Edward Gaming as a whole didn't really make great use of their ward coverage, and so they didn't put down many wards in the first place. And whenever they did have wards, they seemed to kind of forget that they were there and were susceptible to a lot of ganks. So I still think...
a huge flash knockup from you. Looks like he wants to engage. The box goes down. Mega Inferno Bomb locks down all of Edward long enough for it to do enormous amounts of damage. And this is now Quan engaging onto a very low U, but he dies mid-Sonic Strike and falls. This is Name picking up not 1, but 2 kills now, as only Clearlove died for those 3 kills. Edward Gaming secure a solid turn.
Really, really good job to get all that gold onto Name. Name will be able to finish his Blade of the Ruined King very, very soon, and which just means he'll hit that early power spike all the more faster on that Twitch.
And that's very, very scary, especially on someone like Name. Now that that Blade of the Ruined King is going to be completed, he will match up with the damage from Styes, who has completed his Trinity Force. Though Styes has been a little bit more reliable with his Mystic shots. We see Koro going for a bit of an invade onto Rina, throws down the Dominus. He's trying to do as much damage as he can, but he just doesn't have enough, as he hasn't completed his Sunfire Cape quite yet and is forced to back away.
Right. I actually don't agree with that particular move. I mean, Koro had no way of knowing that was warded, but it seemed like a huge kind of waste of an ultimate for him, especially since he didn't really get anything out of it, besides bringing 3 men to him while they were returning to lane anyways. But we'll see whether Koro can pick up that Sunfire Keep soon enough, and then eventually use that Sunfire Keep to go challenge LGD at a dragon.
Mm-hmm. And now this is a bit fun. The support pick from FZZF is actually working out quite well. We have the Mega Inferno Bomb being used to clear the minions and keep that middle turret alive. But FZZF going for the Spell Thief's Edge on LeBlanc. That makes sense as it is an assassin pick. Whoa, Koro getting caught a bit. He is going to be able to slice over the wall. No problem. Sonic Wave catches him, but there's too far for the Resonating Strike. It's not too far. Quan engages, turns onto Koro. Koro's flashing. He is barely shielded, dodges the True Shot Barrage, narrowly survives. What a play out of LGD. They're really turning the aggression on here as they're sieging up in the mid turret. I don't think they have the wave clear. Name is trying to see if he can get a flank from behind, but he's not going to make it in time. He does have the completed Bloodthirster Blade of the Ruined King, but is just going to back off instead and let LGT take the second turret.
That play was a little bit funny because you could see right after Quan hit the Sonic Wave and before he followed up with a Resonating Strike, he kind of stuttered a little bit, and it kind of seemed like he was asking his teammate, he was asking PYL whether he would be able to get into range to throw him a Dark Passage. So it was slightly funny, but overall a very good play from the side of LGD to force Koro out of that mid lane. But he's already back.
Mm-hmm. And now we have Clearlove trying to go for a gank with Name on FZZL. The box is thrown. Clearlove doesn't get his isolation bonus. Mega Inferno Bomb picks up a turnaround kill as Quan engages onto the rest of EDG. Looks like EDG is going to be forced to back away from this despite Name's enormous damage, especially now that Star has joined the fight. And he flashes, lands the cleaver on the Name, who flashes to dodge a Sonic Wave, but it looks like the Ethereal Chains locks down Star long enough. Koro trying to take up for his team. A huge amount of knockup is going down, but the damage isn't there for Edward Gaming. Name is out of mana, so I don't know if they're going to be able to force this fight, and it looks like they're going to escape from LGD, but LGD want to take the dragon.
I actually think that if Koro postured himself a little bit better there, they could have turned that fight. If they weren't willing to fight right in lane over there, then they should not be fighting for this dragon at all.
And now LGD secure the dragon for themselves. Satchel Charge from Reyna used to escape. Edward cannot put a fight up. You are exactly right. They had to back away, and now that LGD did get that successful dragon, there is no reason for EDG to stay there. And it looks like the game is slowly starting to slide into LGD's favor. We talked about how Twitch and Clearlove will scale very well into the late game. That's Kha'Zix and Twitch, and even an Assassin LeBlanc in the works. But for the time being, now that we're in the mid game, this is really where LGD's team comp shines.
Right. I mean, the biggest thing that's worrying for me, if I were a member of EDG, is that FCZF on his LeBlanc has 3 kills, and 3 kills and 3 assists, which I think is around like 80-something% kill participation. So there's a lot of gold allocated to FCZF's LeBlanc, while it would have been more useful on Name's Twitch or probably Koro's Renekton right there, especially since Koro only has 1 assist and 1 death. So I understand that FCZF does have, he's very much a playmaking support. He has the Frost Fang over there, and he did build a tier 1 item, but still, I wonder if EDG probably should have tried their best to allocate those kills and give those kills to Name instead of FCZF taking them for himself.
On the other hand, that's 3 kills onto Styes, who has completed his Trinity Force, and despite the push from Clearlove and Koro, they do have a large minion wave. Mega Inferno Bomb going to deny that push. In the meanwhile, the rest of LGD looks like they want to take that bottom tier 1 turret. That is going to be the last tier 1 turret falling for Edward Gaming, giving LGD solid control over the middle of the map. EDG, though, look like they want to answer in kind by taking this tier 2 top turret from Star. He does have Dominus, but he's 1v3 and gets nuked by the isolation bonus from Clearlove.
Honestly, even though Star did die right there, LGD's, at least out macroing EDG all around the map right now. That's exactly how you play a composition with Ziggs. You send Ziggs in the mid lane where he can use his Mega Inferno Bomb to have an impact to clear waves on every single location on the map, and then send another, and then utilize your excellent ward coverage to unknowingly split push, while the whole team composition of EDG is trying to just posturing themselves inside a brush and trying to take whatever advantage they can. So good job by EDG to eventually respond and get the kill on Star. But as the game goes on and Mundo starts building items, that's not going to happen anymore.
We do already have a completed Sunfire Cape and a Kindle Gem, so that could be a Spirit Visage very shortly. Clearlove getting caught just a bit out by Quan. He can't trade quite. Sty going to be forced to take the Dark Passage to escape those ethereal chains. Now you too far forward, a lot of ultimates going down. That's a huge nuke. FZZ falls. Quan picks up the double kill by shutting down you as well. And this could be a big turn for LGD. Looks like they're going to try to force a fight at Baron. This could work out rather well as Clearlove, very low health, not a lot of mana. And yes, he can get the isolated damage bonus onto Baron. That's not going to work out too well with all 5 members of LGD waiting in the pit.
LGD, there's no way LGD is going to lose this Baron unless they make a massive misplay. Koro's going to die if he dives this right now.
Koro looking like he might want to get in, runs for distraction. Spray and Pray is caught. Name takes a hook to the face. He's actually pulled into the Baron pit. He dies to Rina. Now Rina turning around. The poison is ticking on to PYL. PYL looks like he might go down. He does fall, but the Baron goes to LGD. And Koro 1 going to escape with his life at the cost, though, of the Baron buff.
This game is very much in LGD's hands right. I mean, this is LGD's game to lose, basically. They have all of their kills. They have 5 kills on Styles, their AD carry on Ezreal, and their mid laner Reyna on Ziggs is extremely farmed. I mean, they have all the gold in the right places, and they should be pushing their advantages right about now.
LGD just taking their time, recalling, using that Baron buff to catch their breath before I'm certain they're going to start sieging up once again. The Sunfire Cape finally completed on Star, also matched on Koro 1. So this could be a very nice tank matchup. They do have a solid tank line in Mundo and Kha'Zix. But again, the assassins for Edward Gaming haven't really been coming into play. Clearlove, he was able to get a single kill onto Star in that top lane, but most of the kills of this game have been out of solid rotations from LGD.
I mean, it's really just making use of superior ward coverage for LGD. I mean, they were just extremely smart about their composition. Honestly, I would have preferred to see Koro just leave the top lane and have Clearlove go and dive Mundo early, so they could have taken, they could have responded with one turret for another, and maybe even gotten a first blood on Lai's Mundo in the top lane. But honestly, there's very little that Edward Gaming can do at this point in order to get themselves back in the game, except wait it out, hope that LGD makes a mistake and fights under tower, has an obnoxious fight under tower, and then try to peel for Name as best as they can. Because I mean, if you look at the compositions, anyways, EDG basically has no wave clear at all. Literally no wave clear. They have the glare lance from Lulu and the the spikes from Kha'Zix, but besides that, they really have no source of reliable wave clear. And I mean, LGD's team composition has a Ziggs, so they really can dictate fights whenever they want.
And they are dictating the fights as it stands, shoving up the tier 2 turret, moving onto the inhibitor. Korra gets caught. He takes a lot of damage, but Wild Growth keeps him alive. But now that ultimate has been soaked, this does mean that EDG is going to have a tougher time engaging. Clearlove, with the Evolved Leap and Evolved Claws, is going to have a bit of trouble jumping into a team fight of all 5 members of LGD. A lot of AoE going out from Name, but it's not enough. Korra gets caught once again. This could be the team fight LGD wants, but they're just going to continue sieging.
LG, honestly, especially since Mundo still has his ultimate up, LGD can demand a fight. Clearlove should not be anywhere near the inhibitor right now. They should just be backing off, not even to poke. Honestly, if you're gonna lose the turret without a fight, then you might as well give up the inhibitor as well. This fight, if EDG fought this, that would be very unwise of them.
Ethereal Chains catches Star. He's just going to use his sadism and casually walk away from that. Mundo pleases himself to be wrapped in your chains before walking away from that team fight. He's got no problem trading that. And now LGD looking like they're going to take a nice quick dragon. And the pace of the game is definitely being set by LGD. They have wards just about all over the map. They have complete control over the jungle for Edward Gaming. They sieged up an inhibitor and now have taken dragon off of it. With this next item buy, they could very well pick up those last few elixirs that they need to get the final push into Edward Gaming's Nexus.
Right, I suspect, and we see here EDG posturing for a slight ambush on LGD, but none of the members of LGD are even near there. I suspect that with all the global gold that just went down from the dragon, the tower, and the inhibitor turret, and the inhibitor itself, every member of LGD has about 1,000 gold in the bank, or even more. So they're basically all they have to do is just buy up, wait for the super minions. Koro's doing a good job actually of pushing up the top turret, and that's what he should be doing. But they should. Honestly, LGD should just wait for the super minions in the mid lane to push up, use Ziggs to just furiously clear waves in either the bottom or top lanes, and push to win the game.
And this is a bit of an interesting pickup from Name, picking up a Sword of the Occult on Twitch. Now, I can see that working out for him, even in an LCS game, if he had a couple of kills, but currently he's sitting at 2, 3, 4. So that's going to mean absolutely 0 stacks on that Sword of the Occult. But LGD aren't going to give Edward Gaming any time for rest as they look to siege this last Tier 2 turret from EDG.
Right, what's giving Nami all that confidence is because that, his track, even though actually the majority of those 3 deaths came in the early to middle game, so since his track record, I guess his track record, quote unquote track record, is pretty good, he doesn't have that much to fear from all the dive coming in from LGD, especially since, as I said before, all of the crowd control sources from LGD are skill shot reliant, and with Name's stealth, it's very easy for him to escape those types of situations. But I mean, Sword of the Occult, it would have been. Honestly, it would have been better for him to get something like a static shiv. That might be what he's building right now, but they need the wave clear to counter this pushing coming out from LGD, but it just might be too late.
Well, we have Koro going for the engage, the box being dropped down, only slowing Koro. Now FZZ dashes in, takes a few hits to pop the box, while Clearlove gets wild growth at the last second. Styes isn't able to get the kill, flashes forward, actually gets a last second Mystic shot to turn that around. Falls as well to a double kill onto Styes. Styes now looking very powerful. This is now Star moving further forward. FZZF falls now too. No one has quite yet died. Oh, that's actually only PYL who has died for LGD. They're not even going to go for the Nexus or the inhibitor turrets. They're moving straight onto the Nexus turrets. They could very well end the game as Styes does enormous amounts of damage with his completed Infinity Edge and Trinity Force. And with Rina shoving onto the Nexus, this could be game number 1 going to LGD. Edward Gaming gets knocked down a peg.
Right, you'll see in that last team fight right there that both Reyna and Styes, after the conclusion of that team fight, where only Renekton was left, and I believe that FCZF went in for a suicide kill onto PYL, both Reyna and Styes had full health in that team fight, and even though Star's Mundo got to really low health, he was able to regenerate that all back up. Really good kiting, really good team fighting from EDG, from LGD, and I'm really, really impressed that they're able to beat the super team that is Edward Gaming. Really good game, and congratulations to LGD.
Fantastic, fantastic play. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Caster Sata. I'm joined by Souldra in this wonderful, wonderful casting session. We're going to do a couple more games for you. Feel free to click on the annotation to see game number 2 between Edward Gaming and LGD. Please stay tuned, and we'll be right back.